Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Town Council meeting, Monday, September 16th. I'm going to ask Deputy Mayor Matthew Forrest to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Matthew. Sue, will you call the roll, please?
Mayor Lesser,
Here.
Deputy Mayor Forrest,
Here.
Councilor Bailey,
Here.
Councilor Carbone, Councilor Clancy, Councilor Durick,
Here.
Councilor Rhodes, Councilor Timbrow,
Here.
and Councilor Zambrello.
Here.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sue. And we have a special evening here. Welcome all our guests, and I'm going to turn it over to the chief for the swearing in and the promotions. So, please, Chief Medina, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Town Manager Presley, Mayor Lesser, Deputy Mayor Forrest, and councilors. It's an honor to be here with you this evening for this promotional ceremony and recognition of officers for the Wethersfield Police Department. We will be recognizing one lieutenant, one sergeant, and two police officers. But before identifying them, I want to thank the family members in attendance tonight, because you are the foundation of our department. You are the foundation of what we do every day. And as for all the little kids in the room, you can tell, that's our future. That's why we put this uniform on every day, to be out there supporting the community. And I'm glad you're a part of it. So with that being said, our first one, we will start with recognizing our newly promoted Lieutenant, Jacob Ocharski. The Wethersfield Police Department hired Lieutenant Jacob Ocharski on May 18, 2016. Before that, he worked as an officer at the Clinton Police Department from 2014 to 2016. While at the Wethersfield Police Department, Lieutenant Ocharski was involved in the Sports Services Bureau, Bike Patrol, Patrol Sergeant, Training Sergeant, Mid-State Action Reconstruction Team, and was certified as a car seat officer. Brought little babies in the room, there you go. He holds a bachelor's degree in criminology with a minor in sociology from CCSU and is a graduate of the 93rd Southern Police Institute Command Officers Development course. He will be pinned by his wife, Kristen, and possibly his daughter, Melanie.
Yeah.
Yes. All right.
Tough crowd. Listen, gotta get a picture.
Congratulations.
Well done.
Congratulations, brother.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Thank you.
Congratulations. Well done. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Next, we will recognize our newly promoted Sergeant, Tyreek Hightower. Sergeant Hightower, a native of New Britain, is a lateral transfer who served 4 years with the Dale City Police Department in California. He was a canine handler and a crisis intervention officer. Sergeant Hightower is a Florida Tech University graduate with a Bachelor's of Art in Business and Marketing. I will be pinning Sergeant Hightower this evening.
Welcome.
Congratulations, Sergeant. Welcome.
Congratulations. Thank you.
This evening, we're also recognizing 2 new Wethersfield police officers, Andrew Jacobson and Derek Farrell. We will start with Officer Drew Jacobson. Officer Jacobson retired from the Hartford Police Department in August after his 25-year career. At HPD, he worked in the Patrol Division and the Major Crimes Division and was assigned as a task force officer for nearly a decade with the Chief State's Attorney's Office Cold Case Unit. Drew was also a member of the Hartford Police Department's Marine Division and Dive Team. Among the cold case homicides Drew investigated was the 1995 murder of a female found dragged to death on Jordan Lane here in Wethersfield. So he has ties to our community. Drew was interviewed for the DEC podcast about Leah's case. He's also received several awards as a police officer, including the Purple Cross and Medal of Valor. He has 2 sons, Wyatt and Brody, and tonight he's going to be pinned by his girlfriend, Candace.
Thank you. Welcome very much.
Welcome.
Congratulations.
Officer Derek Farrell. Officer Farrell comes to us with 3 years of experience with the Hartford Police Department and 3 years of experience with the Naval Criminal Investigative Service, NCIS. While with the Hartford Police Department, he was assigned to a walk beat on Berry Square and different proactive units, task force with proactive policing. While at NCIS, Officer Farrell was tasked with investigating and defeating criminal, terrorist, and foreign intelligence threats to the United States Navy and to my beloved Marine Corps. Officer Farrell also has a Bachelor of Science in Criminology from the University of New Haven. Officer Farrell credits his dedication and journey through law enforcement to his father, Dave, mother, Janine, brother, Casey, best friend, Andrew, and his wife, Kate. He will be pinned by his wife, Special Agent Kate Farrell. He's also an NCIS.
That's some good uniforms, right? Good quality.
That's right. Strong fabric.
Some good shirts here. Don't even need flak vests with these.
Thank you. Welcome.
Again, we're so happy to have you.
Congratulations.
So please join me one more time in applause for the members of the Wethersfield Police Department. So this will conclude our portion of the presentation for this ceremony. Now I'll turn it over to Lieutenant Beish for our bi-monthly report. It's his turn on the presentation table here. All yours.
Thank you, Chief. Lieutenant, the floor is yours.
I'm right here with you, don't worry about it. Andrew. Okay, here I go. That's it, how are you doing?
You didn't have to say.
I was going to wait till after the report.
Yeah, so
I figured
was
I
I.
was going to stay. Around. It's all good.
That's it, you're free to go ahead and get it out, no worries.
Just wait till they clear out. So? Yeah. All right. Good evening, everybody. We'll begin the July and August activity report for the police department. We'll start with our demographics. We're budgeted for 50 sworn officers. Currently, we're at 46, so we're 4 short right now, at 92% full. Gender, we have 42 male officers, 4 female officers, 35 Caucasian officers, 8 Hispanic officers, 1 African-American officer, and 2 Asian officers. As far as the experience goes, we're close to 50-50, but we have 52% lateral officers, those that are coming from other agencies, and we have 22 or 48% entry-level officers, so those that start with us and go through the academy. So it's a good mix, having the brand new officers and those that come to us with a wealth of experience. We're in a good position overall as an agency compared to a lot of police departments nationwide with the recruitment and retention issues going on. We're not going to hire just anybody just to fulfill our budgeted number. We've turned down over 110 applicants in the last year, just because we're not going to lower our standards for the police department. Calls for service. We had a total in July and August of 5,633 calls for service. Compared to last year in July and August of 2023, there were 6,524. That's a decrease of 891. The number seems to be high, with over 5,000 calls for service, but out of those, there were only 1,222 dispatch calls for service. So that leaves us with over 4,000 officer self-initiated activity or officer dispatch calls for service, which includes their patrol checks and motor vehicle stops. So they're out there being proactive, generating calls for service. The proactivity and visible presence out in the community may be what assists us with having one of the lowest crime rates in the Hartford area. As far as motor vehicle accidents in July and August, we had 81 combined total accidents. The majority of them occurred on Mondays and Thursdays at 6 p.m. 16% of the accidents involved operators between the ages of 37 and 45. 81% of the accidents had no injury reported. Compare this to last year in 2023, July and August, we had 96 combined motor vehicle accidents, so we're looking at a 16% decrease. This is the map of all of our motor vehicle accident locations in July and August. As you can see, most of them are in our main roadways, so the Silas Highway, Berlin Turnpike, Maple Street, Jordan Lane. Just remember this map as we move forward in this presentation and go on, especially when we're talking about motor vehicle enforcement and the areas that officers are proactively stopping vehicles. We had 559 combined motor vehicle stops in July and August. 37% were between, 37% of the operators were between the ages of 26 to 35. And for our officers, traffic enforcement has been focused on hazardous violations, including speed, stoplight, stop sign, and cell phone violations. It's to help prevent motor vehicle accidents from occurring in town. This map here, it looks similar to the map I showed before with the motor vehicle accidents. This is our motor vehicle enforcement and where our officers are stopping vehicles. So if you compare this to our motor vehicle accident map, our officers are out there proactively stopping vehicles at the main roadways where accidents are occurring as a preventive measure and to keep our community and drivers safe. For crime reporting or unusual crimes, there were 117 unusual crimes reported during July and August. And compare this to last year in July and August, there were 180 in 2023 during this time frame. That's a decrease of 35%. But with this, I'd like to focus on the thefts from motor vehicles, which I have on this next screen. So there were 20 reported thefts from motor vehicles during this time frame, compared to 61 last year in July and August of 2023. That's a 67% decrease. That's a significant amount compared to last year. And that's because of the proactive measures by our officers. So crime prevention is difficult to measure, but with the proactive efforts of our officers, with directed patrols focusing on areas victimized from thefts of motor vehicles, it's certainly helped lower our numbers. And thank you to the community for continuing to follow our proactive tips. So please continue, if you have a garage, please park your vehicle in the garage, close the garage door, lock your vehicle, don't leave the keys in the vehicle, do not leave valuables in the car in plain view. Town ordinance enforcement. There are 128 town ordinance violations during this time frame compared to 188 in 2023 in July and August, 32% decrease. Fireworks number here is a little bit up, but keep in mind we had the 4th of July during this time frame. We had 64 parking violations enforced between dispatched calls and self-initiated activities by the officers. And support services. So we had 79 animal control officer or ACO calls for service in Wethersfield alone. There were 94 ACO calls during this time frame in 2023 in July and August. That's an 18.5% decrease. Our ACO also covers Newington as well, so she has her hands full. And also in support services, we completed 5 child seat checks. And that is all I have for my presentation.
Thank you, Lieutenant. Excellent job.
Thank you.
Counselors, questions or comments? Anyone? Deputy Mayor Forrest.
Two questions. First of all, thank you for the presentation. It's good, colorful, straightforward. I followed it. Thank you for your efforts. Really nice job.
Thank you.
I noticed one of the items on there while we were reviewing it. Oh, sorry. Was there was an evading, MVA evasion. And I'm wondering if you could speak to whether or not you see what the trending you see for the evasion is. If you see, I think I saw 15 as the number on there, but don't quote me if it went through, I mean, it was pretty quickly. There's a lot of data. But do you see evasion sort of going up, going down, steady? Is that time of year? And
I don't have it off the top of my head,
Yeah.
comparing it with numbers with other months, but I could certainly go back and look to see if there is a trend, if it's increasing or decreasing.
And I didn't know if just sort of anecdotally from, the other officers, if you got a feel for that, or
Something I could certainly look into and
All
get
right.
back to you on that.
if you could, I'd be interested to see if that's something that we should be looking at, and how often is it happening in Wethersfield? What are our protocol? Not that we would change that, but just
Sure.
good to understand and know.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then clearly, obviously, you mentioned the drop in motor vehicle thefts, right? And the 67%.
Yep.
You mentioned that you attributed that to maybe some more proactive policing. I may not be getting the words technically right. Is there any other things that are maybe going on that you think led to such a dramatic reduction or lead to such a dramatic reduction? There have been discussions about maybe our laws aren't in the right place or stringent enough, or or there's not enough responsibility being taken. But I don't know that those laws have changed at all, but maybe
Sure.
they have over the last 24 months. So I was wondering if you provide any other insight into, is it really mainly this advanced policing or active policing? Are other towns seeing the same drop? That kind of thing. If you could provide some insight into that, 'cause I certainly don't know it.
Yeah, so I can't speak for other towns, and I can only speak for our numbers and, what we've been doing to try to prevent it. And on top of it, too, it could be crime prevention. We can't do our jobs without the community's support. So with them, locking their doors and doing those preventive measures, like I mentioned, could possibly be helping as well. But I could, look and see what the trend is with surrounding towns, but I can only speak for our own.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Further, Councilor Zambrello.
Thank you, Lieutenant, for that presentation. And it's great to hear about this proactive policing and seeing some of those dramatic drops in crime from this time last summer. So thank you for your work, and thank you for the community's work and being proactive, being aware. So I had a question about noise complaints, because you might have seen on our agenda, we have noise cameras on there today. And I wanted to know, because I believe it said there were 28 noise complaints, and then there were another 24 town ordinance violations. Are those including complaints that people have about loud vehicles? Or how often are you getting complaints about that?
I don't have exact numbers for that, but yes, it would be added with our noise complaints as well too. But I don't have exact numbers or breakdown.
That's fine, yeah, I just want to get an idea of if those are included and how often that is happening. And if you're willing, or if Chief Medina, if you're willing, do you have an opinion on noise cameras? Do you think that would help you do your job better?
I think any tool that helps us do our job is fantastic. As you can see with the proactive work of our officers, I do attribute the decline in our criminal activity to that omnipresence, which we can't measure, but they're out there, and you can see that from the maps, because we call those heat maps, where we have those incidents occur. Then we deploy our resources there, and hopefully we can deter crime. Like we said, we can't measure it, but we can see it here, comparison from year to year. So we are down. When it comes to motor vehicle accidents, when it comes to speeding, when it comes to noise complaints, we have a limited number of officers in the field in an 8-hour shift. That added additional tool of the red light camera and the noise camera, it's huge, it's significant, because not only are we a deterrent for individuals who want to cause, do nefarious things in our town, but then when you sit and you put out there that we have these additional tools that you will get caught, you will be cited for, that's an additional deterrent to say, Wethersfield might not be the town we want to come and drive through with a loud muffler. Wethersfield's not the town we want to go and speed down the Silas, Deane, or Berlin Turnpike. Wethersfield's not the town we want to go run a stop sign or a red light, because you will be identified and you will be fined. So any additional tool for us is fantastic. And two, it's an officer safety issue. It's a public safety issue, because now we're not potentially chasing a car. We're not potentially pulling over a car, especially in inclement weather, because in inclement weather, people are attracted to our lights and they decide to slam into the rear of our cruisers because they're not paying attention. But when you have these additional tools out there that just help us do our job better, anything that helps us is fantastic. So the noise cameras, the red light cameras, we have Start Chase, which we've used, and that deterrent alone, we've decreased our deployments because people know we're gonna hit them with a GPS dart and we're not gonna chase them. So all these little things go a long way. It's just how we put it out to the public, and we're transparent about how we utilize it and what we plan on doing with it. So I think that they are great.
Okay, great, thank you, that's really helpful.
Thank you, Councilor Zambrella. Thank you, Chief. Further questions? Councilor Durk.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Chief, for everything you guys do at the department and the presentation. We had some of these new officers come in these past few meetings. I'm like, we're getting to number 50, and it was like, it's 46 again. Are we having people retire? Are we having people leaving the Wethersfield department?
Well, we just had a retirement. Jenny Rivera, she just left after doing 25 years. Emma Bordershevitz, she left, it went to the DEA. Her father was a DEA agent, so she's a legacy, so I can't fault her for that. That's just only right. So when we think we're getting there, then we went down 2, but we're down 4 per this slide. We have one that we're looking at hiring within the next week. That'll put us back at 3. And then to what Lieutenant Bay stated, when in doubt, we pass. I'm not going to bring a liability to the town if they don't fit our culture and what I think they can and cannot do, because we're not going to hire just to hire. When you hire just to hire, understand what the ramifications are going to be later on down the road. Is that person going to be a good cop? What's in their background? Everything we do, and we take into account. And I'm not going to bring that now, saying I need to fill a seat with a body only to become an issue later on. I'm not doing the town any good. It's risk management. So that's what we look at. We look at it very closely and who we hire, and if you can fit that culture, being out there, community policing, being engaged with the community, and having that little bit of a background as a lateral, but also as an entry-level person is what do I see in them that they're going to bring here? They want to learn. They want to be a part of this community. A lot of them have ties to the community, if you have noticed, regardless of where they come from. So that's what we bring here. So yeah, I'll be down 3, but at the end of the day, Would you want me to fill 3 and have 3 headaches? Or you want me to not fill 3 and get the right person? And even with that, it's a balancing act, because it doesn't mean I'm going to hire 3 laterals. I might hire an entry level and a lateral, because that entry level is going to go to the academy, and they're not going to be viable for an entire year, because it's 6 months in the academy, 6 months FTO, then they're on their own. So that's another thing I have to look at too, and you're balancing the budget when we talk about it. So with a lateral, I could get them on the road in 3 weeks, an entry level, it's a year. But that experience offsets with the other one, and I have that teaching environment, because I have a new subset of police officers that can learn from the senior officers who have that experience, and they can help guide and mold them and make Wethersfield Police Department what we're doing and where we're going, show them the way, so.
Thank you. We see all these new people coming in. We don't see people when they leave, so just wondering, where we stand with numbers.
We have a great
Thank
department.
you.
That's why we have a lot of new people, because they want to come here.
That's great. Thank you, Councilor Durek. Further council comment, questions, comment? I'll just add that I like that you're being so selective. I think, Lieutenant, you mentioned 110 applicants were turned away, and we only want quality. And Chief, I applaud you, your leadership team, and all the men and women in the police department for all you guys do. And I'm glad that you're that selective. We want to get the right person than just to put a person in there. So thank you. If there's no further questions, that concludes. I don't know if you had any concluding remarks, Chief, or if you're...
No, thank you. Thank you for having us. Like I say, this is the best police department in the state. I don't say that without saying it, because this is my 4th department, and being across the state and all the different troops I've been at. This is a great town. It's a great community, and we have a great department. And we keep supporting each other. I think the sky's the limit for the town and our department. So
We appreciate all you do, and it is the best police department in the state, and we're proud of it. Moving right along,
Thank you.
We have Jay Granato, who's going to come up and talk about the Cars on Main, the car show for Bobby Garton. So Jay, if you want to come up and speak to us. Thank you, gentlemen. And Jay, just for the record, your name and address, and then you go ahead with your...
Good evening, everyone. My name is Jay Granato. I live at 30 Burwood Road in Wethersfield, town resident. Along with a good friend of mine, John Love, we have organized a car show for our dear friend Bobby Garton. As I'm sure many of you know, Bobby was a Hartford police detective who was tragically killed last September in the line of duty. He was the first officer that Hartford has lost in over 30 years. Bobby grew up in Wethersfield. He lived in Carriage Hill, grew up there he lived there for almost 28 years, 30 years. Attended Wethersfield schools and was a lifelong resident of the area. Ever since his death, John and I have had a desire to do something in his honor. Bobby absolutely loved cars, and so John and I came up with this car show idea. The show titled 1781 Cars on Main. It'll be taking place on Main Street between Church and Hartford Ave, and obviously using the First Church parking lot on Saturday, September 28th from 11 to 2. All proceeds for the show will be going to the Detective Bobby Garton Memorial Fund. Going a little bit personal, Bobby was my best friend. He is missed dearly by all his friends, and obviously especially his family. As a lifelong resident of Wethersfield, I'm extremely grateful that the town has accepted our plan to host this event. It means so much to me, to John, my friends, family, that this is being allowed. We welcome all cars, new and old, doesn't matter. And we'd love to see everyone there and show the support. Thank you. So any questions, please.
Thank you, Jay, and what a wonderful way to honor your best friend, and we're happy to support it from the town, and thank you for all the work you're doing to do it.
Thank you, guys.
Does any
Thank
councilor
you.
have any question about this event coming up on September 28th? Did you raise your hand? Deputy Mayor Forrest.
Welcome, Jay, and nice job.
Oh, thank you.
I'm sure it'll be an event worthy of the cause.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Now, perhaps if there's a website, or if somebody wants to contact you to maybe either enter a car, maybe if you give that contact information.
Absolutely. So we actually have an Instagram page. It's 1781 Cars on Main. Obviously we can contact directly through there, and that's where we're actually doing a lot of our contact with for car clubs, for any kind of questions, for people who would like to sign up. We have what's called a VIP section, which is a little bit of a different sign up. You'll be parked on Main Street, kind of showing your car off right there. But obviously we have a full connect there on Instagram, and in that way. And at the show, we will have a memorial tent that is designed just to for any kind of, if you want to donate to the fund or anything of that nature, if you just want to come and spectate. Yeah.
Is there, on your website, is there also a donation page, or is there a
Yeah,
separate? way
that
to
will be
donate?
set up to them, yes. There will be, there is a link to the memorial website page.
That'd be great. And is there any, like, vendors or anything that'll be there, or?
Yeah, we will have,
Food vendors and
we're
so
going to
forth?
have 2 food trucks as well there. We did stay away from having too many food trucks because of the area and all the great food that is in the area, obviously.
Sure.
We have spoken to all of them to make them aware. But we'll have 2 food trucks there. We'll obviously be selling some, bottled water, candy, and stuff like that on the side as part of all and all those proceeds go to the show as well. I mean, go to the memorial fund as well.
Wonderful. Sounds like it's going to be a great event. Maybe we could just
Thank
go
you.
there to get a bite to eat even.
Please.
There you go.
Thank you, Deputy
you, Mayor.
Mayor. Further council questions or comments? I'll just wrap up where I started, Jay. Thank you so much for doing this, bringing this event to the community, honoring Bobby. Thank you, the town.
Yes.
Fred, your staff, thank you for helping coordinate all this.
Thank you, guys.
And looking forward to being there.
Absolutely.
2020.
Thank you very much,
Thank you,
guys.
Jay.
Thank you.
Have a good night. Okay, moving along in our agenda, we are at C-1. This is public hearing. Mr. Town Manager.
Thank you, Mayor. This item is for Ordinance 24-008, and it's an ordinance authorizing the use of photo noise violation monitoring devices, or noise cameras. We were just speaking a little bit about it when the chief was up here. These devices were recently approved by the state legislature, that towns can pass ordinances and have these devices installed. They would pick up any violation of a vehicle that's emitting a noise over 80 decibels. First offense, it's a warning. Second offense is a $100 fine, and third offense is $250 fine. They are specifically only allowed to capture the noise level and the license plate of the offending vehicle. They are not allowed to capture any images of the occupants themselves, and the owners will be sent, the owners of the vehicle will be the one that is sent the violations. So this is the first step in the process, is to pass the ordinance, and after that, we'd have to go through a process with DOT to get the locations approved, and similar to what we're doing with the speed cameras and the stoplight cameras. And I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Town Manager. I'll open up for council, and then it's open up to the public. Any councilors have any questions about the noise cameras for the town manager? Hearing none, then I will open it up to the public. Does anyone want to speak on just this item with the noise cameras? Yes, Tom.
Hi, I'm Tom Carson, 12 Avalon Place. I fully support the ordinance allowing the use of noise cameras. Like you heard the chief say, the red light and the speed light, and the red light and the stop sign cameras, which you've, or the red light and the speed cameras, excuse me, which you've already authorized. Noise cameras are a technology that enhances law enforcement and enforcement of our current state laws and town ordinances, and it will deter the operation of intentionally noisy vehicles in town and will improve our quality of life. We all hear these vehicles probably every day, multiple times a day, and many of us wonder why they're allowed to exist. We have specialty parts makers that are selling parts that have no practical purpose, and they only exist to make vehicles loud. We have people purchasing these parts and installing them for no practical reason, and only to draw attention to themselves and their vehicles. Currently, there's only one location in the entire state of Connecticut that inspects noisy vehicles, and it's right here in Wethersfield at the DMV. And before Connecticut's General Assembly passed legislation earlier this year allowing for the use of noise cameras in Connecticut, their Office of Fiscal Analysis, in researching the issue, reported that the DMV currently conducts fewer than 50 noise inspections per year. And that's not even one a week for the whole state of Connecticut. So it's obviously a problem that's not being adequately addressed. The ill effects of noise pollution may not get as much attention as air or water pollution, but there are many studies that show that excessive noise not only affects mental health, but physical health too. The U.S. Environmental Protection Agency has stated that noise pollution adversely affects the lives of millions of people. Studies have shown that there are direct links between noise and health. Problems related to noise include stress-related illnesses, high blood pressure, speech interference, hearing loss, sleep disruption, and lost productivity. And according to the World Health Organization, noise is the second largest environmental cause of health problems after air pollution. So I just want to say in closing that it's satisfying to see Wethersfield out in front, not only regionally but statewide on this issue, and I'm sure many communities will follow, and I hope you vote yes. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. Any further public comment on this item? Seeing none, I will close the hearing and move on to regular public comment. There are two public comment sections on the agenda, one now and another toward the end of the meeting. During each public comment period, members of the public will have 5 minutes to speak on any issue. We have added a lighted timer to the podium to help each speaker be aware of the time remaining for them to address the council. When you step up to the podium, please state your name and address, and at this point, the green light will come on showing you have 5 minutes, your 5 minutes have begun. The yellow light will come on when you have 1 minute left, and at this time, we ask you to begin to wrap up your comments. The red light will then come on when you've reached the 5 minute limit and are asked to complete your comments. I ask that you address your comments to the entire council, refrain from speaking directly to or about any individual councilor members or the audience. I ask that you refrain from any derogatory comments or personal attacks and remain respectful. This section is for public comment, and the council will generally not engage in any dialogue during this portion of the agenda. If any follow-up is needed, please leave your contact information with the town clerk, and the town manager will follow up with you. At this time, I welcome any public comment. Martha.
Martha Keneally, 12 Fairmont Street. I am here this evening on behalf of the Wethersfield Democratic Town Committee to comment on an article published in the Reminder on September 5th. The article included comments made by Councilors Carbone and Bailey at the August 19th Town Council meeting regarding an email exchange between our screening committee co-chair and the Republican Town Committee chair. The topic of that email exchange was the process by which we nominate candidates for boards and commissions and questions that had been raised related to some Democratic nominees. Their comments made during the August 19th council meeting suggested the email from our screening committee chair contained disparaging remarks and was, quote, bullyish. Well, it had not previously been my intention to share or comment on the correspondence publicly. I feel it's necessary to clear the air given the seriousness of the accusation and that it was shared by the local media. In contrast to the way it was characterized during the meeting, the email interaction between our screening chair and the RTC chair was mutually respectful and productive. The mention our screening chair made of Councilor Carbone was related to her noting she did not have a person's resume to reference. I'm quoting directly from the email on this, which I will share with the clerk in the entirety of the email. All of these nominees that were sent forward for your approval, this is a quote, last night were sent on June 26th. All of Councilor Carbone's concerns could have been easily answered prior to last night's meeting. She remarked she did not have a resume for the nominees in question. Please let her know and anyone in your party that they can reach out to me for a candidate's resume, end quote. There is no calling of names or anything that remotely resembles that a person needs to stay in their lane or else. No one is telling anyone what to say or how to vote. This is an offer of assistance to any member of council who needs further information related to an appointment. Did our screening committee chair agree with the way the situation had been handled? No, she did not, nor did I, as I quite clearly said at that meeting, during the meeting. I think we both used the word disappointed. Does being disappointed make us bullies? No, it does not. Chairman Roberts' response to the email was equally respectful, which in my experience is the tone of every email I have ever seen between our committees. And I very much appreciate his comment that he wished to, quote, get back on a collaborative footing. I'm not going to read the email exchange in its entirety, but I'm going to give it to the clerk. I can also email it if that's more helpful. and I'm asking it to be included in the record. I'll also leave a copy on the table over there for anyone in the room who wants to read it. The exchange has already been shared with the entire council and the manager. I am very proud of the work our screening committee does to recruit volunteers for boards and commissions, and I also appreciate how hard the Republican Town Committee works to do the same. It is a great way to engage community members in civic responsibility, and the service of those volunteers is absolutely vital to keeping the wheels of our small town government in motion. I'm also proud that we do have a mutually respectful and productive relationship with the RTC in this area. It is the same kind of respectful and productive relationship that I heard Councilors Rhodes, Councilor Zimbrello, and the mayor advocated for at the August meeting, and what I believe the public very much wants to see and hear from this entire group. So I will leave it at that and say thank you. Have a good evening.
Thank you, Martha. Further public comment? Bob Woodward?
Yeah, perfect.
Bob Woodward, 456 Middletown Avenue here in Wethersfield. In looking over the agenda for tonight's meeting, I noticed on the website 2 future meetings at the community center. One for a 2034 vision of the town. And there was a survey with that, and I put the cursor on the survey part and I hit it and I couldn't get in. So I don't know if I did something wrong or it's just not ready to come up, but I pass that along. That would be something good to share, and I have that date on my calendar. The other is a meeting next week about Millwoods Pond Park and what's happening, and I think that's tremendous, and I hope to go to that. The one that disappoints me so far is that there's no meeting listed yet for all the work that's being done for the schools before we come back here for a hearing on a referendum, and I hope that will happen. I was quite disturbed at the last meeting when somebody got up and said, "Oh, we're going to have new schools," quite confidently. I didn't think anything had gone that far, and I hope and pray it hasn't. But I hope there will be a meeting up at the community center where anyone can come and look and ask questions before we get here in a crowded meeting for a referendum and then go to the polls. I think that would be a big plus for the entire community. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. Further public comment? Yes, please. Mr. Young, you're after her.
Good evening. My name's Joyce Morissette, 31 Robbins Drive, Wethersfield. I was here last month for the meeting, and I spoke about, I was concerned about the security at the senior center, the community center, and when I looked at the agenda, I don't see anything stating like, we're looking into it, that boy, let's go with it, but there's nothing stated. I didn't know how any of this worked, so I came tonight because I was concerned about a gentleman who spoke last month about the budget, and they had X amount of dollars in the budget that was not being spent as of then. The quarter or the annual or whatever was closing at the end of September 31st, and that X amount of dollars that they were going to distribute between departments, to clear out the budget. I don't know the correct wording for this, but my question is any of the money being directed towards the security at the senior center? The lighting, the entrance, the doors, there's children there, the seniors are there, there's no security. Maybe they could get an officer, maybe retired officer with a radio, or God forbid something happens. There's people coming in and out of there, and I just don't see how anything I said last month, took precedence as far as maybe money being directed to that subject, or maybe, I don't know how it works. I don't know, do you look into it whenever, or do I wait, or I don't know how it's handled. So I don't want you to forget. I'm just asking you, please not to forget. And if there is money, maybe putting it into the security at the center would be great, and I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Joyce. Appreciate it. Bob, Mr. Young.
Good evening, Robert Young, 20 Copper Mill Road. I've been talking about the Little Red Schoolhouse and this so-called lease that you folks have been working on for, 64 years? Or maybe 30 months from the time it was exposed that they had no lease? And I cannot believe an organization allows another organization into our building with no lease, no rent, that we pay all the costs, and it just keeps going. And nobody at this level, at the dais, has done a thing. No results. You know, in 1976, the Wethersfield Art League moved to the Little Red Schoolhouse using a $15,000 state grant. In 1996, a discussion went on between Kathy Bagley and that time Lee Erdman, who was the town manager, and spoke about the rental issue. And Kathy Bagley says that they must pay a rental fee. They're not part of town of Wethersfield. And this was in 1996, 28 years ago. And she made zip as far as results or any actions whatsoever. Then, in 2007, the town of Wethersfield spent $25,000 on the property of the Little Red Schoolhouse, $16,750 for a new driveway and parking, and another $8,200 for other things. It came up to $25,000, and of course it wasn't budgeted. It had to come out of the capital reserve. And here we are. We continue with no rent all these years. Nobody cares. Absolutely nobody in this town at this executive level cares. If it takes 30 months from the time it was exposed that they had no lease, that was almost 30 months ago. What a great performance. Now you have great performance here with the citizens, putting them on a five-minute schedule, and as quick as 5 minutes are up, they're gone. That's efficient. But what you're doing has no efficiency whatsoever. As a matter of fact, does anything in this town operate under any kind of efficiency levels? And then I hear from the town manager, because I have an ongoing FOI with him, and he says the council and staff are still in decisions. The council and staff are still in decisions and with members of the Wethersfield Art League and working through the terms of a possible lease. This was July 10th, 2024. Can't you wrap it up? And then he goes on, because I was saying, I want a copy of what you're doing. And of course, he has something to do with exempt records. It's not exempt. And he says, preliminary drafts and notes provided by the public agency, that's this group right here, has determined that the public interest in withholding such documents clearly outweighs the public's interest in disclosure. How long are we supposed to wait for a disclosure? 64 years. And that's not all. As disclosure of the working draft could negatively impact the negotiation process, we have determined that the public interest in withholding such documents clearly, again, outweighs the public's interest in disclosure. Due to schedules of individuals involved in this process, the matter will now be considered at a future town council meeting, likely in the fall. Likely in the fall. What a disgrace. Anybody that owns a property on the town or the Silas Highway or the Berlin Turnpike and wants to rent it, one day, Town of Wethersfield takes forever. What a disgrace. And here we are.
Thank you, Mr. Young. I'm
We
gonna
charge
ask you to wrap
citizens.
up your comments.
Yeah, well, I know.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
I'll be back.
Further public comment? Seeing none, we'll move on our agenda to council reports. Does any councilor have a report tonight? Councilor Zambrello.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a couple updates tonight. The Advisory Committee for People with Disabilities has a few events coming up this fall and winter. I don't have full details on all of them yet, but if anyone wants more details, feel free to email me and I'll get those to you. There's the Boo Bash Halloween Party on October 28th. There's the Thanksgiving Potluck Dinner on November 21st. The Santa Pancake Breakfast, which is the big event, that's on December 7th. And then there's the Holiday Party on December 18th. So if you or anyone else, your family, your friends are interested, and you want more information, feel free to reach out and I can connect you on that. Secondly, the school building committee. So you heard Mr. Woodward bring it up. The consultant we just approved at the last meeting, their TSKP. If you were here, you heard me speak about them, their qualifications, their enthusiasm about this project. So they just had their first meeting with the building committee last Monday. They came in very proactive already. They had created a brochure. They had a plan for which events they're going to go to, which groups they're going to meet with to start. They've got a website going already, and I will show you. So this is the first draft. This isn't the one they had at Cornfest, I don't believe. But it's just a preliminary little brochure to introduce people to the projects. No decisions have been made. In the RFP, they were asked to explore 3 options. So it's to keep all 5 schools, whether that means new, renovate, however that pattern works out, to keep 4 schools and close 1, not specifying any one in particular, or to explore other options that we might not have thought of, including possibly having a 5-6 school. So those are the 3 things that the consultants are going to be exploring going forward. There's already been a lot of preliminary work done. First, to assess the last referendum, why it failed, what went right, what went wrong, what we can do better this time, so we don't repeat any of the mistakes of that last referendum, and then to go forward and make sure that the community is very engaged with this. So we've gathered a lot of feedback already. There was an ad hoc committee. There's now the building committee. The Board of Ed has weighed in. The council has begun to weigh in. And there are different steps to this process where we get formally involved. But they do, they were at Cornfest this weekend, the consultants, with some of our building committee members. This is about, right now, introducing them to the community, introducing this project again with this new foot forward. So it's not going to be the same as last time. No decisions have been made about the plan. You have plenty of time to weigh in on that. So, like I said, they went to Cornfest. They're going to be coming to every community event they can. They're going to be meeting with the PTOs, the moms and dads clubs, going to some school open houses. So, and that's just the first step. Once they actually develop a plan, then there's a whole other part of the community engagement process where there's more formal ways to weigh in, to understand what decisions are being considered and why. So that is all in the works. And I will put this up at the front right after I'm done speaking, because there is a QR code here for the website. It's a work in progress. There's not much on there right now, but you can see the name of the building committee members. There's digital versions of all the pamphlets that were handed out at the school building tours, and there's a spot to submit questions if you'd like to do that. So if you can't scan the QR code, or if anybody who's watching at home, you can send me an email. I'll send you the link. It's not nice and neat right now, so I'm not going to read out all the numbers attached to it, but please feel free. This is the first step here, but I was really happy to see how much they came into this meeting with, and they're ready to go. So they're going to be out there in the community. Please stop by and say hi if you see them at these events, and look out for all these opportunities. I will keep giving updates every meeting so you can all stay informed, and I'm going to go put this up there now. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Zambrello. Further council reports? Anyone? I will just add that last week I attended the Veterans Commission meeting, and then after that, the Veterans Day Ceremony Planning Committee. So as Veterans Commission, I'll report a couple things. We appointed a chairman, Rick Newell. If you know Rick has been serving on the Veterans Commission for many years. He is a former Marine, and he's employed by the Disabled American Veterans, DAV, and he's passionate about veterans causes. Also, we have 2 brand new, and I'm really excited about this, 2 brand-new students at Wethersfield High School who are members of the Veterans Commission. It's a great, 1 woman and 1 man. It's a great opportunity for them to learn about the military, to learn about the Veterans Commission, and to volunteer in our town. After that, we adjourned that meeting. We went into the Veterans Day Ceremony Planning Committee, which is some of the same members and some different members. So that ceremony will be on November 11th, Monday, at 11 o'clock at the high school. You may remember a few years ago, the Board of Education decided to have schools open on Veterans Day with the thought that it would be nice to teach our students about the meaning of the holiday and have them attend a ceremony. We will be having the ceremony at the high school on November 11th. The big discussion was whether to have it inside or outside. Those of you that went last year remembered it was quite cold, and we're going to start inside was the decision, but if it's really cold, the principal said we can quickly move outside. So that's it for veterans and for my report. Now I will go to council comments. Does any counselor have any comments they want to make? Councilor Timbrow.
I guess I just was looking for confirmation for the master plan meeting for Millwoods. That's happening on the 24th, is that correct?
Next Tuesday, the 24th at 6:30 at Pitkin.
Okay, 6:30 at Pitkin. That was it.
And I hope you're feeling okay.
Yeah, I'm all right.
You got a little
I'm
cold
all
there.
right. I think it's allergies, but.
Well, any other council comments? Well, let me make a few. I want to tell you about a few things that happened since our last meeting, a few things that are coming up between now and our next meeting. On September 6th, Friday, we had Brigadier General Lafayette here. He marched down Main Street. This was a great event put on by the Webb Deane Stevens Museum. It brought a lot of nice attention to the town, but it commemorated the 267th birthday of Lafayette. He was supposed to come here on his 200th birthday, which he could not do, which was September 6th, 1824. So he came September 6th, 2024. This Lafayette spoke French and knew all about Lafayette, and I guess there's a burgeoning career if anybody in the public or any counselors wants to be a reenactor. This guy was quite good, but it was a great event, showcased our town and our history. September 14th, this past weekend, we had Corn Fest. Want to thank the Chamber of Commerce, who did a great job. Want to thank the police and fire department, who did a great job. It was a wonderful event. Enjoyed it very much. We also commemorated the 250th anniversary of the Solomon Wells House. We had a proclamation, which thankfully I was told not to read it, which was good, because a lot of times people don't want to hear it, but we did mention that was the 250th anniversary, another great mark in our history. And then quickly, some events that are coming up. We have the Harvest Fair at Keisha Farm this Saturday from 1 to 4 at September 21st. On September 28th, it was mentioned by Jay Granado. That's the Cars on Main to commemorate Bobby Garton. That's 11 to 2. And then I have October 5th, because our next meeting is October 7th. October 5th, Celebrate Wethersfield. This is a brand-new event by the Chamber of Commerce, and it is going to be on the Silas Deane Highway, and it's basically a vendor fair, and it's something new, and they really wanted to have it on the Silas Deane. We have so many wonderful events in Old Wethersfield. It was their goal to have an event on the Silas Deane Highway, so the Chamber is sponsoring an event on October 5th. That's all I have, and moving on to Town Manager's report. Mr. Town Manager.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. I'll just touch on a few items that were brought up during the public comment. First, Ms. Morissette, with respect to the community center security, we're actually looking at all of our building security. We actually working with a consultant right now to come up with proposals for upgrades for all of our buildings. This building being one of them, the library, community center, are our primary focus, but we're also looking at all the fire stations as well. The police station's in pretty good shape. They're having upgrades done this year, but that's a priority of ours. We actually have a safety committee that is meeting tomorrow and following up on some of this, so we hope to use some of the funds provided by the state for the purpose of actually doing the upgrades once we get the quotes back. So we're working on it, and we do propose to have that work done. So, and I appreciate you bringing it up. It's important. Nope,
No, you-
not at all.
you went online,
I
no.
just want to respond to you because I know that it was important. And next thing is, I think Mr. Woodward mentioned that the link that was provided in the management report did not work. It actually was a typo there, Bob. It's weathersfieldvision2034.com, and I believe the management report said 24. So if you change that, I assure you it'll go there because I know several of us have taken the survey. So please go up there and do that, take that survey. There's also a link on our website and on our Facebook page and our Instagram page. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Town Manager. Town Clerk's report, Sue?
The September 2024 EDIC monthly report is included in your packet, and also as of today, the town clerk's office has received 260 absentee ballot applications. Also, 20 of those were sent out to residents that will be traveling outside the U.S. today with their blank ballots, and also will begin issuing and mailing out the ballots that we've received up until October 4th. Anything received up until that date will go out on that day. And also, we just wanted to remind everybody that the voters have the option of early voting if they would be out of town or otherwise available on Election Day. We have been offering that when we do explain absentee balloting, and a lot of the residents are not aware of early voting, and they're very interested in that and are choosing to do that instead. So it's a very good alternative to the absentee ballot.
Thank you, Sue, appreciate it. We have no bids. Consent agenda, do I have a motion? Mr. Deputy Mayor.
Thank you very much, Mayor. I move the consent agenda.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilor Zambrano. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion passes. We're on item K1. This is the ordinance on the noise cameras. Do I have a motion? Mr. Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm going to move to table K1 until the next meeting.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Do I have any discussion? I'll just make, anybody raise their hand? Yeah, Councilor Timbrow.
No, I was just saying I seconded.
Yeah, you second. Second by Councilor Timbrow. I'll just mention that we are planning to take this up at our next meeting, and hopefully we have the full council here. If there's no discussion, all in favor of tabling it?
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? Okay. Moving right along to L1. Do I have a motion? Mr. Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor. I move to table L1 until the next regular meeting.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilor Zambrello. Any discussion? I'll just point out again that we hopefully will have our full council, and we intend to make the budget allocations and transfers, ARPA funds, on the next meeting, October 7th. If there's no discussion, all in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Okay, ayes have it. New business, there is none. N1, ordinance and resolutions for introduction. Mr. Town Manager.
Thank you, Mayor. As many of you may know, we offer exemptions, tax exemptions for certain folks in town. Local income-based tax relief is what it's called under the ordinance. This includes elderly, disabled, and some veterans as well. And we are proposing to make some changes to both the income limits on that and the amount of the relief. And that's based upon a review that was done by the tax assessor's office on what the neighboring communities in the area do for this purpose. And we are just looking for you all to consider that. At the next meeting, we'll do the public hearing. The tax assessor, Walter Topoff, will be here to kind of provide you with a presentation on that and answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Mr. Town Manager. Does anybody have any questions tonight, the Town Manager? I'll just add really quickly that this is a really important item, and I'll suggest to the councilors that get some sleep before the next meeting, because we have a lot of these items that we're moving to the October 7th meeting, but this is really important in terms of looking at potentially giving our lower income and seniors and veterans more tax credits, further tax credits, and get us more in line with what our neighboring towns. So we'll go through the detail of that and potentially vote on October 7th if we want to adjust the plan we have. So that was just for introduction, so I'm just going to move along. We're back to public comment. We're moving fast tonight. Does anybody from the public wish to speak in this second public comment section? Seeing Mr. Young. Did I miss?
I forgot to cover that.
So, 1 second, Mr. Young. We forgot an item. My apologies. Under Town Manager's report, the part-time program specialist at the senior center, this is an item that there is an individual working there that the funds have run out, but there is an opportunity of funds to potentially pay her to keep her on longer, and the town manager has an update.
Correct, yes. Thank you, Mayor. So essentially, this position was funded through ARPA funds, which will expire at the end of this calendar year. Based upon the feedback from both our social services department, our senior center coordinator, and the seniors themselves that utilize the facility, this position's been very important and has done a great job over there. So we want to make sure that we continue that. In speaking with the finance director, we're going to continue that, so long as the council does not have any issue, continue that position at a part-time basis through the current fiscal year, and that'll be through the end of June. And the plan would be to include it in the budget recommendations for the next fiscal year. So we'll be able to do that as part of the existing budget, and if there's no issue with that, we'll move forward with that.
Thank you, Mr. Town Manager. And I'm just going to add here that I'm a member of the senior center. I'm there a fair amount, and I hear from a lot of our seniors how valuable this position and this person is. And I also have heard from the director, Amy Dignotti, how valuable this person is. And I'm so happy that we're going to be able to fund it through the fiscal year, and then the council will make a decision, budget time, whether we want to make it permanent or not. So I'm very glad. It's a nice, I see the thumbs up. It's a nice priority of this council to do as much as we can for seniors, and this is an important position that we're able to fund through the end of June. And I've certainly heard it from many seniors. So moving right along, and I apologize, it was on the agenda and we didn't cover it, is now we're at public comment. So anyone from the public, there's only 3 of you left. I know, Mr. Young, you had your hand up. 2, but Tom's leaving, so that makes 2 of you. Mr. Young and Joyce. Mr. Young, you're up.
Robert Young, 20 Copper Mill Road. As you all know, we rent 370 Silas Deane Highway for $52,700 a year. That is our DOE Transitional Academy. The lease expires the middle of 2026, with an addendum on there to where the rent then will be higher. It will be, I saw it here a moment ago. It will be higher anyway. It'll be like $62,000 a year, going up from $57,000 to $62,000 a year. And my suggestion is that we should, one, consider the fact that we changed the Little Red Schoolhouse into a traditional, the transitional academy for the Board of Education. Put a building out in the back that would be in line with the rest of the neighborhood. They only have 11 students. I can't believe all 11 students show up at the same time, but if they do, it's only 11. And I think that would be a way of saving some money. Obviously, if we're not going to put in the necessary rental that is required for the Little Red Schoolhouse for the Wethersfield Art League, and I mean, just look back. In 2007, we put in a new parking asphalt. We did some other improvements. Over the years, we've done a lot of improvements that cost us money. And here we are, you have to bury, you have to embed all those supposed costs into your rental to the Wethersfield Art League in order that we don't take a beating like we are with the Wethersfield Historic Society. We're taking a horrible beating with the Historical Society, thanks to our deputy mayor over here, him and his pals. We don't want to take a beating on this one. And this is why we need to do something, be serious. They're either going to pay what it cost us and what we're projecting it's going to cost us. I mean, this is business. We're not a charity. And we need to build all those costs in to whatever the rent is. And if it's not, you should not accept or sign an agreement with them. And let them move on. And then we could either, one, sell the property to a private owner who would turn it into a house, and they would build an addition on the back. And they would have the nice front, which is the Little Red Schoolhouse. We have a number of Little Red Schoolhouses in town that people live in. And you could sell it. Or, like I say, turn it into a transitional academy for those 11 students that we have right now. And who knows what the number will be in the next few years. But the fact is, it's a way of utilizing that building or getting the proper rent from WAL. Not like WHS gives us $100 a year for that huge building. And even if we want to use a room up there, we have to pay their rental fee. So, we have to be smart. But again, this should have been turned right around quickly and moved right along, and I wouldn't be up here talking about it. It would have been over with, and you would have had a tenant, or you would have had it on for sale, or you'd be converting it to transitional academy. So, unless you have a better idea for it. But that's my idea. So, I really think you need to do something with that. And, time is money. You were supposed to be a banker, Mayor. Time is money, isn't it? You've wasted a heck of a lot of money. We wasted 64 years of not collecting a nickel from these people, plus we paid all the utilities, we paid everything. We paid the repairs. So here we are. We got to do something, folks. And the way you're acting, and look, what do you charge people who rent a room over at the community center? I mean, I have a whole list of dollar amounts and reasons and people's names from 2018.
Thank you, Mr.
Not
Young.
2021, but 18.
Thank you, Mr. Young.
And they're paying good money. The Wethersfield Art League should pay good money.
Thank you, Mr. Young. Further public comment? Joyce? You're all set. If there's no other public comment, I'll take a motion to go into executive session. Mr. Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor. I move the council into executive session.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilor Dirk. All in favor?
Aye.
We're now in